Let's get the controversy started, because I know this is controversial because I've had a lot of Blackhawks fans in my mentions, and this is obviously relevant to them because number 2 on the list is Artyom Levshunov. And Levshunov is a really interesting prospect in a number of ways because he is he's a defenseman. So you have the defenseman at number 2 over top of the forward. And I know that, Blackhawks fans, there's a camp that really wants Demidov, and it's not always exciting to take a defenseman. It's not the most fun or trendy or sexy pick. It is usually, however, a smart pick. And so how did I get Ardam Levshunov over Ivan Demidov, who's number 3 on the list? And the answer really comes down to a couple of things. Number 1, positionality means a lot here. What position a player plays, the way that they can impact the game. When you look at the impacts an individual player can have on their team, the puck-moving offensive defenseman who plays upwards of 23 minutes a night is one of the more sought-after components of any team. And you look across the NHL and you say, okay, well, you need to have that top-tier defenseman. You can argue the Edmonton Oilers, is Evan Bouchard the guy that you would put among the top number 1 defenseman? Is Aaron Ekblad one of those guys you would put among the top tier defensemen? Maybe not, but you look at the rest of the way the playoffs played out. You have an Adam Fox for the New York Rangers. You have a Miro Heiskanen for the Dallas Stars. The players, or the teams that went on deeper runs, Vancouver getting a big series out of Quinn Hughes, all these different things that kind of come into play. And those players matter, and it's the minutes that they play. It's the role that they play. It's the versatility that they bring. And that's why I think Artyom Levshunov, who to me, as I was looking at these defensemen, I think he's the clear best defenseman. I think he checks the most boxes for what you need to be a number 1 defenseman. Becoming a number 1 defenseman in the NHL is a very difficult thing. There are only 32 of those, and not all of them are created equal. So you look at that and you say, okay, well, if we can get this, and in my view, Artyom Levshunov is on a trend line to being a number 1 defenseman. You look at the production that he had at Michigan State. You look at the minutes that he played at Michigan State. You look at the way that he's grown over 2 years in North America. You look at the size that he has, the physical strength, the skating ability, the puck sense, and the ability to play offensively. I just think there's a lot there, and I don't have as many concerns about hockey sense, mobility, offensive skill, all of that. I don't have any concerns about with Artyom Levshunov. So to me, as I look, it comes down to what's more valuable to an NHL team. Is it a number 1 defenseman or a number 1 scoring winger? If that scoring winger, let's say Ivan Demidov gets to a Patrick Kane level, we're just talking about wings that went first overall, a Patrick Kane level player, then yes, that makes a little more sense. That seems to jive a little bit better with, what you would say, okay, well, that guy has to go. But the reason Demidov ended up number 3 on my list is also because there's a lot of unknown there. There's a lot of uncertainty there. And yes, we can watch him. We can watch the skill that he has. We can watch the plays that he's making, but he's making it in a league that is not necessarily going to get you to the next level. And so, I mean, and he'll get to the next level, but it's not, in terms of evaluations. When we talk about the Russian players that have been selected high in the NHL draft, they have played more KHL or more professional games than Ivan Demidov has. And that is a really tricky thing to kind of get over. We know he wasn't just in the MHL because he's young. The SKA St. Petersburg has not been a place that affords younger players a lot of opportunities to play at the senior level, at least not in the last few years. And so with that, it's really challenging to decide, okay, well, he's playing in the MHL, which is, it's not a comparable league to the OHL, to the USHL. I feel like it's a good junior league. It's absolutely a challenging junior league, and that Demidov has the offensive skill. But to do it against a lower level of competition, how dominant really will he be? And to not see him in international competition where he's playing against top players, to not see him in those things, that creates a level of uncertainty and risk for me that the profile that he is putting forward at a lower level of hockey is consistent with a number one winger. You have to project it out, but I think about, there are a lot of players that we look at, and there are guys that played high school hockey or prep school hockey. It's not that big of a gap, where that's a level far below what we see in typical junior hockey. You look at the numbers that the best players in the Minnesota high school leagues put up, and that's the top tier of high school hockey. There's the players that are on a pro track are absolutely dominant in those levels, and that's what we're seeing with Ivan Demidov as well. But to put him as a number 2 pick over a guy that I feel could be a number 1 defenseman in the NHL, it was a bridge I wasn't willing to cross. And that is why Ivan Demidov is number 3. I still think he's an elite offensive talent. I still think that there is an opportunity for him to be a high-level scorer in the NHL. I just think there's I feel more comfortable with an Ardam Levshunov and the upside that I think that he has versus, what Demidov has shown at a level that doesn't give me a lot of comfort in terms of projecting him out a little bit further. So that's the hard part.